TPMs. How are you doing? Let's hear some noise. You just came from a break in between sessions. How is the energy? So I'm Prasanthi Darbha. I'm a software engineer turned TPM. So you must be wondering, she's not an EQ guru or a self-help expert. What is she doing and why is she talking about EQ? So I want to talk about EQ, but I want to share a brief story, blast to the past. So my journey with EQ started at my 18th birthday party. So there was this uncle of mine who accidentally came to visit us, not knowing that it was my birthday. So he did not know what to get me. So he just went out and found a best-selling book, which is Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. And he just gave it to an 18-year-old teenager who he thought would be very excited to have that book as 18th birthday present. So as an 18-year-old teenager, like how usually typical teenagers are, I was like, oh, what is this book? This is not any fancy title or anything. It's emotional intelligence. I'm not an emotional person. I don't cry. I'm a very strong person. And I'm super intelligent. I'm doing this fancy engineering computer science degree, and I don't need this book. And I just kept it at the bottom of my bookshelf pile, which I used to call it my library at that point. So go back to move forward to 4 years. So I was at this prestigious company working for a very Fortune 500 client on a very tight deadline project, which we are familiar with. But for a new undergrad coming straight from school, partying with friends, that's not what you want for your first project. So it was very tough for me working on the tight deadlines, like navigating what people are going around. Everybody was like, rush, rush. And my project manager was like, where is your deadline? What are you doing? Where is your prototype? Why didn't you update your status report? I was like, oh my God, what is this? And there was this engineering manager of mine who was like very calm. He was like, working with all the escalations and everything so coolly. And I was also at this point where I started crying for the first time at work. So I was like, maybe I'm getting emotional. And what is happening to my all intelligence? My QA team is finding hundreds of bugs in my 3 lines of code. Then I realized I connected both and figured out that emotional intelligence is what I need. And I also spoke to my mentors and figured out, like, I just need to understand what emotional intelligence is, how to deal with super aggressive clients. And there it started for a 22-year-old girl, the emotional intelligence journey. So from a teenager to now a mother of a teenager. So my EQ journey has been fascinating. So I'm learning from peers. Every day it's a journey, growing professionally, personally. So I'm very happy to share with you my experiences and some learnings I had. Since this is a lightning talk, we can't cover lots of things and make you all EQ gurus, but we will try to go there. So I have an action plan. Like all our TPM meetings, we'll go away with some action items for you. So stay tuned for that. So in this lightning talk, we'll unlock the hidden power of EQ to elevate your TPM role and specifically drive extraordinary results. Get ready to learn how to master EQ and how you can transform your TPM leadership from good to great. So are you all ready? Yes. So what are we going to do in the next 15 minutes? So we will learn EQ in the world of TPMs, understand about core pillars of EQ, and also run through some practical scenarios which we typically encounter in our day-to-day TPM world, and you will go away with your action items. Few of you already got your handout, so your homework is ready for you. So what is emotional intelligence? Going by Oxford Dictionary, it's the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, to handle interpersonal relationships judicially and empathetically. As TPMs, do we all follow the theories? No. We customize and write our own definition, glossaries, everything for the team. So let's dive into TPM definition. What does EQ means for TPMs? How do we define EQ? So in the world of TPMs, think of EQ like your superpower. When everything around you is falling apart, your program is falling apart, teams are like fighting for priorities, everything is very chaotic, but it's your superpower that makes you smile, to make sure that you're handling the chaos, turning the chaos into a smooth symphony, all while making sure that nothing is happening, everything is cool. So staying composed and taking everything into control is what EQ is for TPMs. So are you all with me till now? So why EQ matters for TPMs? So we all work on large-scale programs, working with cross-functional teams. We work with whole span of team members across the board, be it sales, customer success, marketing, engineers, product designers, whatnot. You cover the whole org chart. So especially in this global age where we are mostly hybrid or remote, sometimes you don't even see the people you work with. But how do you manage to get that shared vision together? So EQ is very, very helpful to drive cross-functional team dynamics and to get everyone together to strive for this unified vision of your organization. Managing stress. Our keynote speaker, Jen, told us today, self-care is very, very important. So how do you deal with self-care in this high, fast-paced, tight deadline environment, right? So EQ helps you do that. It helps you to take self-care and also make sure you're dealing everything with a positive mindset. In today's fast-paced environment, at cutthroat competition, we can't just wait to take things slowly. We have to act fast, learn and ship fast. So tight deadlines and pressures are all common. Through EQ, we should learn how to understand the landscape and be better and make our teams better. So fostering collaboration. So how do you build a high-performance environment as a TPM? So I would envision collaboration is the engine for a team success, and EQ is the fuel that keeps it running. So for EQ, EQ helps us drive the collaboration, and we also have to make sure that every team member feels valued and heard. That's how you could build a high-performance environment. And pillars of EQ helps you drive those conversations and make sure that you have that authentic relationship with your teams. Enhancing leadership. This is a very important point I want to highlight. Empathy is very, very important. You need to be able to understand what your team members are going through, be in their shoes, to make sure that you understand their pain points, and especially as PMs, we write all this rhythm of businesses and everything. So you need to be empathetic and be able to think of how others perceive what you're writing. So empathy is very, very important in that. And influence comes when you have integrity, when you're the role model, and it comes through authentic relationships. And most of the times, how many of you agree that we all have to lead and influence without authority? So this is where blending a unique leadership style with empathy and influence helps you drive that. Like how you could lead a team without having the formal authority. So are you ready to learn about the core pillars? So there are 3 core pillars of EQ: self-awareness, empathy, and then social skills. So self-awareness is first understanding yourself. Who are you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And what triggers you? How are you able to interact with others? Without self-awareness, the other 2 skills, the foundation, if that is not laid well, the other 2 skills crumble. So I would start first with self-awareness, know who you are, and then understand who others are through empathy. Step into others' shoes, understand the emotions of others. So I would say empathy is a very critical skill for building trust and rapport. And the very, very important 3rd pillar is social skills. Usually, this is the skill that gets visible of all the 3 skills, like how social behavior is for you, and how you are communicating clearly, and how are you able to resolve conflicts. So social skills come into play to effectively manage authentic relationships. The reason why I keep stressing about authentic professional relationships is our world is small. So now I'm talking to you, you are engaged in my conversation. Tomorrow you could be working with me. You could be my manager. So it's a small world. So having that social skills and especially building that relationships takes you a long way. So now, all said, let's go to the theory. Where are you all now? So you are at the TPM summit, right? I want you to step back and go to your imaginary fancy world where you are leading a critical program meeting with a senior leader. So you just got the news that a milestone is getting delayed. So your senior leader has immediately called you for the meeting. So go to that scenario and stay away from the TPM summit. The delay is significant, and you are aware that this reflects very poorly on your team's performance. As the meeting approaches, you start feeling anxious, and you may, instead of focusing on solutions, you will think about, oh, what this will senior leader feel about me? Like, what are my repercussions for me and my team? How is my promo going look like because of this? So you worry about all those things instead of focusing on the solutions. So what do? First, you recognize your anxiety. Understand that you're anxious, and instead of going to a fight or flight motion, 6 seconds, take a deep breath, and then learn how to manage your emotions. So what are you going to do? So you have to go to this high-stakes meeting. What is expected of your leadership? Jen clearly told in keynote that leaders have very short time. They have so many things going on table. So you have to go with a problem, like why your project is getting delayed and how you can bring back the project back to track. So you have to go with the solutions. So think of that, take a deep breath and start organizing your thoughts. Go to the meeting, present one by one, like why the situation happened, what mitigation plans you have done, and what needs to be done so far, and what help you need from leadership. Being emotionally stable without anxiety helps you to do that. So what's going to be the impact? Think of the result of what this all results in. You're able to communicate clearly. Obviously, you get positive reception in the meeting because you're bringing everyone together to take the decision. And it's a productive decision, right? Instead of like everyone sharing the thoughts, you have your options ready. And you're coming up with actionable solutions, which clearly demonstrates that you are a true leader. True leadership comes in when you're able to act cohesively and cognitively under pressure. So, to sum up, self-awareness is understanding your emotions, strengths, and weaknesses. You are able to make informed choices and make better decisions by managing your emotions. You're able to connect better with your team. You're able to improve overall communication. And most of all, growth mindset is very important for everyone. So through self-awareness, you're able to understand and identify what areas to improve on, so it fosters growth. You're able to manage stress and setbacks effectively and be resilient. Okay, no need to be in that meeting, come back to the TPM summit. Now we have an interesting situation. Think of your best friend, your stakeholder. We all have stakeholders, some are good, some are tough. So this stakeholder is very upset right now. Okay, you're in the TPM summit, but the stakeholder is very upset over a delay in a critical project. Their frustration is escalating and they're pinging you. What's happening? Why is this not happening? Your team member is not doing this. I'm not getting the update. And it's become increasingly tough to communicate with this person, and it is starting to impact the overall project dynamics and stakeholder relations. So what do? Do you just leave that person as is, like he or she is a tough person to deal with? No. You need to have a conversation. Crucial conversations is one course I would definitely recommend. Have that crucial conversation with that person. Understand from his or her point of view where they are coming from. Acknowledge their concerns. And sometimes what happens is if you probe questions and go for the root cause, you might find very good insights which you might have missed just thinking solo from your perspective. So that person may or may not be right always, but it will give you good insights which you might have missed. And also offer support. As I told earlier, it's very important for a person to feel valued and heard in a work environment. So you are doing that. So now the results. What are you going to do? Through validating feelings of the person, you build that authentic relationship that you are hearing them, right? And then you're able to make insights and adjustments. If a person is asking for a status update or report, that means there could be some flaws in your communication plan. So go ahead and revisit that. If there is any change that you need to make to the RACI chart for this stakeholder, do that. So this results in improved collaboration and also make the person valued, and overall it is very good for your team success. So empathy, to recap, is understanding emotions of others. You are able to diffuse tensions and resolve conflicts effectively. You are able to offer emotional support, especially in COVID times. Team members were there for each other virtually, so this came into play really at that point. And you're able to foster a cooperative work environment. And the most important part is you're able to create a positive work environment, not a toxic environment. And you're able to build stronger connections and strengthen relationships. Okay, are you all ready for the last scenario? This is going to be super exciting. So now, transport yourself. You have a high-stakes product launch coming in. All the while you have been working for 2-3 years for this product launch, and suddenly there are delays due to unexpected technical challenges, design complexities. Since this is the final scenario, I'm throwing all apocalyptic scenarios, so bear with me. There are also team misalignments, tight deadlines, communication gaps, all coming like arrows to you to hurt you and your team. There are differing priorities that are impacting team morale, requiring you to immediately act to re-energize the team and move the project forward. Does that sound familiar, any of these? So what do? We can't cover all the steps you might be doing all, but I want to recap few things which we have learned from the previous skills also. Talk to the key stakeholders and DRIs who are responsible for the work to understand their perspective. What are their concerns? How do they feel about it? What we should do together? And then build that cross-functional communication so that everyone, instead of thinking and working in silos, they work towards the big picture. Create communication channels, write newsletters, and also make sure that there are visual dashboards wherever possible to see how each team member or the team is collectively collaborating to the big picture that gives us a win. Also, one thing that will help is you don't have to do like team building always, but when you're starting a meeting, don't just go through agenda like done. Take 2-3 minutes. At GitHub, we have something called GitHub 5, where we take a smile and then ask people how are they doing. We just exchange some banter, set the right positive tone, and then have that conversations happening. So this really helps. Also, if you're doing all this, it reinforces the purpose for the team, why we are doing that critical product, right? Impact. Team has renewed motivation and energized. You have enhanced collaboration. Productivity is increased. And the unified vision shows, and we all are together for the win. So social skills, recapping, managing relationships, communicating clearly, and resolving conflicts. Why are we doing it? Because it fosters collaboration and unity. We also are aligning different stakeholder needs to bring a unified vision. Other thing is navigating office politics and organizational dynamics. We don't want to do it, but when we have several stakeholders, we have to subtly handle the organizational dynamics. So this social skills will also help you through that. And by gathering diverse inputs, you're able to facilitate the right decisions for your company and your team. You are able to create an open communication environment and enhance productivity, and you are proven and you are building your brand as a true great TPM leader. So, with all said, you have the handout, right? So that's your takeaway for the meeting. I don't know which stage you are in the EQ journey, but I hope through this session, you are all able to learn something or refresh something. So what I would suggest is try to practice EQ daily. We may do it, but for the next 30 days, try to purposefully do it, forcefully, and then it will become your true nature. And in the handout, for virtual people, you have it in your session material. So there is a 30-day action plan. That's your action item for all of you. Start that 30-day action plan. In 30 days, you would see results. You would be a better person professionally and personally than today, and continue that journey. And unlock your leadership potential and elevate your effectiveness and influence. So I want to conclude this session with a favorite note of mine. The journey from good to great TPM leadership is paved with emotional intelligence. In the world of artificial intelligence, this is our secret tool and secret sauce to navigate modern technical program management complexities. AI, people say AI will take away my job, it will do this. But one thing I'm sure, the human connections, ability to connect with people, no, AI never can do that. We as a humans are best at doing it, and we will continue to do that, and we have to strive for that. Thank you for taking time out of this TPM Summit. And we don't have time for Q&A, I think, but I'll be happy to chat with you and connect with you offline. Yeah, hope you had nice time and have enjoy wonderful time at the rest of the TPM Summit. And please make sure you make new friends today and connect with everyone. That's what EQ is all about, building that connections. And good luck to you all.
Thank you, Prasanthi. Very high-spirited and very useful. Thank you for giving your secret sauce.